Hello, welcome to my channel, Another Bibliophile Reads. My name is Greg, and I am here to do the To Die For tag. This tag was originally created by Peter, the book lover. I saw it on the channels Pax Panic and David Wiley. And even though I was not officially tagged in this video, and I am a little behind on some of the tags that I was tagged on, I decided this is going to be a fun and easy tag to do. And the idea of this tag is just to list 5 books that you want to buy. So let me start off. The first is the Kushnameh, the Persian epic of Kush the Tusked, by Iranshah and translated from the ancient Persian by Kevin Hamnet. And this is an epic medieval Persian poem. It is not published yet. It should be published Tuesday, the day this video goes live. I have not seen any sorts of reviews of this book. I don't actually know if it's going to be a good book, but the description is just something that sounds right up my alley. So let me read it to you. The first English translation of a strange and unusual Persian epic, this action-packed tale of an evil, monstrous king explores questions of nature and nurture and brings the global Middle Ages to life. The great Persian epic, known as the Kushnameh, follows the entangled lives of Kush the Tusked, a monstrous anti-hero with tusks and ears like an elephant, descended from the evil emperor Zahak and Abtin, the exiled grandson of the last true Persian emperor. Abandoned at birth in the forests of China and raised by Abtin, Kush grows into a powerful and devious warrior. Kush and his foes scheme to wage war across a global stage, reaching from Spain and Africa to China and Korea. Between epic battles and magnificent feasts are disturbing, sometimes realistic portrayals of abuse and oppression and philosophical speculation about nature and nurture and the origins of civilization. A fantastic adventure story stretching across the known world, a literary classic of unparalleled richness. This important work of medieval Persian literature is a valuable source for understanding the history of racism and its constructions of race and the flows of lore and legend from Central Asian Silk Road to the Sahara and to the sea routes of the Indian Ocean and the Mediterranean. The Kushnameh is a treasure trove of Islamic and pre-Islamic Persian cultural history and a striking contemporary document of the global Middle Ages, now available to the English-speaking readers for the first time. And I'm just enchanted by that description, so I have not ordered it yet, but it's going to take a little bit of resisting. Sounds so much fun. How many people are eager to read medieval Persian literature? Me. The second is a novel that's been getting some very good reviews, and it is M, Son of the Century, by Antonio Scurati, and translated from the Italian by Anne Morlano Appel. And this apparently was a massive international bestseller and an historical novel that chronicles the birth and rise of fascism in Italy. And for reasons I'm kind of interested to see how fascism rises. It sort of parallels what may be happening in the United States. And I just want to know more about that. Even if it doesn't parallel what's happening here, it looks like it'll be an interesting and fascinating read. But it is a huge novel. And hopefully I'll find time to read that. But I don't own it yet. Maybe I will. The next is another big book in translation. and that is The Books of Jacob by Olga Tokarczuk, translated from the Polish by Jennifer Croft. Now, I did listen to her Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead, an audiobook, 2 years ago, and I thought that was a very interesting little cross between mystery and literature, and fascinating. But this is the story set in the mid-18th century. And let me just read a little bit of a description of this. In the mid-18th century, as new ideas and new unrest begin to sweep the continent, a young Jew of mysterious origins arrives in a village in Poland. Before long, he has changed not only his name, but his persona. Visited by what seem to be ecstatic experiences, Jacob Frank cast a charismatic spell that attracts an increasingly fervent following. In the decade to come, Frank will traverse Habsburg and Ottoman empires with throngs of disciples in his thrall as he reinvents himself again and again, converts to Islam and then Catholicism, is pilloried as a heretic and revered as the Messiah, and wreaks havoc on conventional order, Jewish and Christian alike, with the scandalous rumors of his secret rituals and the spread of its increasingly iconoclastic beliefs. The story of a Frank, a real historical figure around whom mystery and controversy swell to this day, is a perfect canvas for the genius of unparalleled reach of Olga Tokarczuk. Narrated through the perspective of his contemporaries and those who revere him, those who revile him, the friend who betrays him, and the lone woman who sees him for what he is, The Books of Jacob captures the world on the cusp of a precipitous change, searching for certainty and longing for transcendence. And again, that is just something that I really want to pick up and read. It's a 900-page book, and I'm trying to say, when can I squeeze this in? That's the reason I haven't bought it yet. Now, the next entry in here is a substitute. When I was originally making notes for this, I had wanted to get I Was Dora Sanchez by Derek Raymond, and I was looking that up to get some details, and I noticed that a very good used book price. It was under $8, including shipping. It says the condition is very good. So one of my To Die For books I've already bought. So now I came up with a substitute that I've heard quite a lot of people talk about on booktube a bit. And that is From Hell by Alan Moore and illustrated by Eddie Campbell. And this is essentially the story of Jack the Ripper. And I became interested in this a few years ago, but not highly interested. My interest peaked earlier this year when I read a different graphic novel about what Eddie Gain done. And that is the story of the serial killer who inspired Psycho and Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacres. And that was a fascinating biography. It was a nonfiction work of Eddie Gain and how a serial killer is created. And I found the graphic novel format for that highly intriguing. So now I want to go back and see a story about Jack the Ripper. Now, of course, this is fiction because no one knows who Jack the Ripper was. But I loved Alan Moore's novel, Jerusalem. That is one of the fabulous gargantuan postmodernistic novels that I've read in a few years. So From Hell by Alan Moore is going on to my To Die For list. And last, I was thinking about this, and this is kind of a new bunch of books to add to this list. And I blame Michael K. Vaughan. He did a video the other day about the first stories of Conan the Barbarian by Robert E. Howard and how good they were. Now, I have a Kindle edition of the Conan stories, but the formatting is kind of wonky and it's missing stories. And My big dilemma on this is, do I want to buy the 3 volumes of Conan the Cimmerian, The Bloody Crown of Conan, or The Conquering Sword of Conan from Del Rey? And I'm sort of treating them all as one book because they're just a collection of stories, and publisher split it up into 3 volumes to get paid 3 times. But is it going to be worth it to buy those 3 volumes to get those 3 stories that I do not have yet? And that is what I'm considering right now. And that's why it's going on my to die for list. Now, I'm going to tag a few people to see if they want to do this. I am going to tag Mark at Book Time with Elvis. I'm going to go ahead and tag Criminali. And I know she's talking about buying the books and trying to slow down on buying books, but I kind of want to see what's on her wish list. And that's Elizabeth at Bokens and Books. Well, thank you all for watching and seeing what is on my to die for list. Thank you. Goodbye.